Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I've learned as I've grown into the person that I am today. And I'm sitting outside today, so welcome to my patio. Alex's mom is coming over here in just a couple minutes. They're gonna sit outside and have some champagne and some hors d'oeuvres and things. They're getting ready to go to the grocery store to get like hummus and cheese and things. And then I'm gonna get my videos uploaded and I'm gonna hang out here with them as well. So, I have 4 meditation books right here, the ones I always bring with me. And then I have my coffee for the day, and Alex left his tea out here, his black iced tea. And then I also have my 2 plants out here that I put on the table over here. Aren't these so pretty? Look at these. I love these so much. Ah! Anyway, I'm thinking about going to the store right after this is done. While they go to Kroger, and I'm thinking about getting a couple new plants because I killed these 2 plants over here. I like overwatered them or something. I don't know. They're just not doing well, and it's so hot out on the back patio. My neighbor said she thought it was because they were maybe in direct sunlight. So I'm going to ask the person at the plant store, like, are there plants that can be like right out in the direct sun? So I also have my bird feeder right here that I haven't been using a whole lot because when I put the suet things right here, the other animals like raccoons and stuff come in here and they just chew these, and they just take it right out and eat the whole thing, and then the birds don't even get to try it. Isn't that so sad? Anyway, okay, let's get into the meditations. I'm having such a great day today. It is, oh, I almost went to August, and it is July 25th. I feel like I have something hanging off my face, like a fuzzy. Okay, July 25th. Is it July 25th? Or is it July 24th? I feel like it's July 25th. What did I read yesterday? Let's look and see. Yeah, it's July 25th. Okay, so July 25th, in the Daily Book of Positive Quotations, speaking the truth. July 25th, speaking the truth. Truth is always exciting. Speak it, then life is dull without it. Pearl S. Buck. In our attempts to be polite, I don't know that quote, hold on a second. Truth is always exciting. Speak it, then life is dull without it. Pearl S. Buck. She wrote, didn't she write, what was the book that she wrote? We had to read it in like high school or college. The Good Earth, The Good Earth. In our attempts to be polite, we may stifle our best, most heartfelt ideas and beliefs. We're afraid we might hurt someone else's feelings if we spoke truthfully. But it is possible to be honest without being rude or mean. How else do we let others know who we are? How can others let us know who they are? How can others let us know who they are? Unless we speak the truth, no bad idea will be challenged and no good idea will be shared. Censoring my true thoughts cuts me off from others. I don't need to stifle my ideas. I can express my true self in ways that are not hurtful. I think it's an interesting meditation. You know, one of the things that my mom taught me, and it's still something that I am practicing that I'm not great at, is that it's not always what you say, it's how you say it. You know, my best friend Tanya is somebody that is very good at saying things that maybe if they came from somebody else would be very hurtful, but she says it in a way, and she doesn't really preface things either, you know, like I'm somebody that prefaces, like, please don't be mad, or I know this might not be what you want to hear, or something like that, but then I go into what I'm going to say. Like, she doesn't do that. Like, she doesn't, like, and she'll always say to me, you don't have to preface what you're going to say, I'm your best friend, you can just say it, you know? And I also have to say that I don't have many people in my life today that I feel like they speak to me toxically. And what I mean by that is that, you know, that they say things to me on a hurtful, like on a regular hurtful basis. Like, I don't have people in my life like that today. I did for much of my life. And I don't know that I wasn't that person to other people. I may have been, right? But I'm not somebody that has a lot of people around me that I feel like every time I'm with them, they're criticizing me. I don't want that in my life. I think it's one thing to have somebody be critical of you, or to say, hey, like, I'm concerned about this with you, or whatever. That's a friend, okay? But have you ever had that friend that it's like literally every time you're with them, it's like they want to tell you all the accolades that's going on with their life, but then when it comes to anything with you, they're just like, yeah, you shouldn't do that, or why are you dating him, or why did you do this, or why are you taking that job? It's like always very critical. Like, I don't have those people in my life today. Because what I realized over time was that they really just wanted me to be in their life to lift them up. They didn't really have any need for me to be in their life other than that. And I wasn't gaining anything from the friendship except for to feel bad when I walked away. And I was like, I don't want that anymore. Like, I don't need those people in my life. But I do think that with our close friends and family, it's a lot of like how we say things, you know, and that we can be honest and we can be truthful, but but in watching how we say it, you know, we don't have to be cruel and direct. I also think that it's, you know, a lot of, I just realized that there's a door here missing. I also think it has a lot to do with, I'm looking at my bird feeder and I realize that one side of the door is gone. I also think it has a lot, probably why it was on sale. Now I get it. That's why it was on sale. I also think it has a lot to do, me going off on a tangent. Who would ever guess? I also think it has a lot to do with realizing that we don't have to say everything. That is something that I've really learned in the last couple years. You know, that there are many, many things that just don't need to be said with friends of mine and family, you know. Especially, I think, the obvious sometimes. You know, if it's something that I'm concerned about with somebody that I feel like that they're not taking seriously in their lives, you know, I'll mention it, or they'll mention something to me and whatever, you know. Or if I ask for it, if I open myself to that, then we'll have a conversation. And then if I open myself to that, I feel like I'm kind of allowing them to be direct with me. But I think, I think my mother-in-law just got here because their dogs are barking. But I think that, you know, there are many things in life that just need to not be said. Like, we don't need to always go there with our friends and our family, right? Unless it feels like something like we can't continue to go forward with the relationship that we have unless we say those things, you know? And I've kind of learned that. Like, there's a lot of things that I feel like I'm trying to think of an example, you know, but like, I don't know, like, if one of my friends hurts my feelings and says something, like, that's something to me that I feel like I need to say something about. And the way that I would say it in the past would have been like, you know, like, I don't know why you're being such a, you know, why are you being that way? Like, don't talk to me that way. I don't say that today. The way that I say it today is, you know, well, first of all, I don't react. I respond. So I kind of sit on it for a while. And I might say, like, the next day, because I also find that people, you know, I'm not somebody that's big on talking to drunks. You guys know I'm sober, right? So, like, if it's 2 o'clock in the morning and some drunk is wanting to talk to me about their life problems, I'm like, maybe we need to put this conversation off to the next day, you know? I always make sure that they're okay, but then I'm like, maybe we can save this conversation for tomorrow. I also don't do that with people that are angry. When somebody is speaking to me with anger, I typically am like, I'll kind of sit on it for a day or two, and then I'll come back later and I'll be like, you know, like, it really kind of hurt my feelings when you were speaking to me the other day. Like, I don't know if there was something going on with you or what that was about, you know. And if they kind of stand firm in their stance, I'll say, typically to them, like, I'll kind of coach them in how to talk to me. Like, I appreciate you feeling like you can give me feedback in my life, and I want that. I want that from my friends, but the way that you spoke to me is probably not the way that I'm going to hear it, just to be honest with you. You know, like, if you come at me with that attitude, I've already shut down. And sometimes I think it's like, you know, like Dr. Phil said this years ago, and I do love Dr. Phil sometimes I do. But I love that he said, you know, we teach people how to treat us, and we teach people how to talk to us. We do. We definitely teach people how to speak to us and how to talk to us. Okay, the dog started barking really, really loud, so I had to stop it because I didn't know how much you guys could hear. You know, but I look back on my life and I realize that in a lot of my relationships, romantic, you know, like friendship-wise, or even, you know, like in work relationships sometimes, like I allowed people to speak to me in ways that were not okay, you know? And I look back on that and I think, was it because I wanted their approval? Was it because I wanted them to think that, like, oh, you know, like a lot of times I look back on that and I think, why did I allow that? Like, why did I let somebody think that that was how you could speak to me? You know, I don't do that today. I will say that I don't like fight like every battle. Like I was talking about that with my mom the other day, that she was not somebody that picked her battles well. So I'm not that today, like where I like go after each, you know, I'm not jousting windmills, so to speak. You know, I'm somebody today that, like, if it's something that happens over time, like 1, 2, or 3 times with somebody that I don't know very well, that's when I'll say something, right? If it's somebody that is close to me and it happens and it's not typical of our relationship, then I typically will say it like the next day or the day after. I'll say, you know, like, what was going on? Like, why were you talking to me that way? And if they're like, you deserve to hear that, like, you know, blah, 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 I'll say, okay, but like, you know me well enough to know that you don't have to say it that way, right? Like, we can coach our friends and family in how to speak to us. And if it's somebody that we have said that to over time, you know, we have said, hey, listen, like, I really appreciate that you're trying to help me, but I'm probably not going to hear it when you're coming at me that way, you know. then, you know, like my mom used to say to me with like using like, I've tried so hard the last couple years not to use a lot of like swear language, you know, because my mom would say to me back in the day, she'd say, you just like, and she always would say it was because I was in a 12-step program. She'd be like, you're like those old men in 12-step programs. They just cuss and cuss and cuss. You know, and she would say, you know, like when you use that language, people stop hearing what you're saying and they hear how you're saying it. She would say that to me a lot, like speaking from anger, speaking from, you know, cuss words, swear words, whatever, that be careful how you're saying it because people stop listening to what you're saying and they only hear how you're saying it. And I think that's so true. But, you know, have you ever had somebody in your life that like you have said that to over and over and over again? And they just don't get it, and they continue to talk to you that way. And then what you realize is they talk to a lot of people in their life that way. Like, they think that that's all right to talk to people that way. And then you're like, I don't know that that's somebody that I need in my life. You know, at 48, I have very few people in my life. I just don't have a lot of people, and I'm totally fine with that. The people that I have in my life, like, I have great relationships with today. In the past, I allowed a lot of crap. I really, really did. And I probably wasn't the best friend at times either, and needed to evaluate that and look at how I can be a better friend to people. I mean, that's a big part of the evaluation and the inventory that I've done in my life is how can I be the best husband, the best friend, the best son, the best, you know, whatever to people out there, you know, employee at the time that I was working and things like that. How can I be that to people, you know, and have to work on that on a daily basis? Like, what is my definition of that? And sometimes that would be like asking people, like my friend Tanya, like, how could I be a better friend to you? You know, and she would say things to me, instead of you asking me, like, in situations like, what can I do to help this situation? Just do what you think would help. You know, and that would help me, like, to know how to be a better friend with her. Or like with my husband to say, how can I be a better husband with you? And he would say to me, you know, sometimes like when we would argue, we don't argue really as much anymore, but when we would, it would be like, I would needle and needle and needle and needle and needle until like he would just be like, okay, fine, let's just not fight anymore. But like, he is somebody that needs some space. And that was something that I learned, you know, in counseling, that like if we were having an argument, it was okay for him to have some space. And then we would come back later and talk about it. And 9 times out of 10, we would sit down and he would be like, you know what, I'm sorry. And I'd say, I'm sorry too. And then we would like move through it, you know. But I've had to kind of learn over time, you know, like that we all speak differently. We really do. You know, we all talk differently. And I think it's okay to train people in our lives how to talk to us. And if you don't feel that you can do that, then I think that you need to ask yourself, what's that relationship about to begin with? And I think like when it becomes really, really hard, and this is where I always get this question, but what if it's family? What if it's my mom and she talks down to me, right? You have a right to look at your mother and say, Mom, I love you. You are my mom. You will always be my mom. You're my only mom. But why do you think it's okay to talk to me that way? You know, like I had a friend of mine say that to me one time. She said, you know, like, if somebody talked to me that way, I would say, why do you think it's okay to speak to me that way? Like, we can say that to the closest people in our lives, right? Like, we don't want to do that out of fear sometimes, but I think that we need to do that to speak up for ourselves. We only have one life, okay? We only have one life, you know? Live it to the fullest. Live your life, and that sometimes means setting boundaries with people that are closest to you. You know, and the thing is that relationship might only improve. It might only get better after that. You know, if you say, please don't speak to me that way, that really hurts my feelings. I know a lot of people that I've said that to. You know, I had a friend of mine. Y'all know I talk a lot, right? I had a friend of mine, well, first of all, I've had friends that I've said that to that said, I didn't realize I did talk to you that way. And I'm like, you know, and it changed like that. They didn't talk to me that way anymore, right? Because they didn't realize they were doing that. And then I had a friend of mine one time I was talking to, and he goes, I don't need solutions. I just like you to listen and be my friend today. And I was like, I can do that. You know what I mean? Like, I can do that. Like, I can just listen and shut my mouth. It's hard, but I can do it. And sometimes when we ask for what we want, like, miracles do occur and relationships do improve, but sometimes we're afraid to ask for that, you know? So I think it's important for us to be willing to say to the closest people in our lives what we need from that relationship or what we need from that communication or how we're going to talk to them. So anyway, I think that's a great meditation. I'm going to go enjoy some time with my husband and my mother-in-law, and I always feel so blessed that I have like the most amazing mother-in-law in the entire world when I hear other people like complain about their mother-in-law and stuff. So we're going to have a fun little evening. I may take a dip in the pool later. And I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.